I am Janet Oborski. I'm the president here at the local VA AFG office, local 1699. By trade, I'm an imaging technologist for almost 20 years here now. So we are standing outside the great Wilkes-Barre VA Medical Center, and most of our employees come from Luzerne and Lackawanna County. So we are rallying against fair pay for our nurses. Our director refuses to give locality pay to a lot of our nursing staff. This year they got 0% increase, and our nurse managers got the increases and not our nursing staff. We're also here against hostility that is continued to be allowed by our director. He does a lot of investigations against management and the hostility, but never has any results for the employees. We have AFGE SSA, Toby Hanna, Army Depot will be here, and we have Action Network currently, and we have hopefully some state and local representatives showing up for our afternoon. Well, that's an easy question, really. Who else is going to fight for your rights as an employee, which includes your retirement, your pay, your benefits, hostility, whether or not they could just not like you and fire you, so your worker rights. We could go on forever with that list. The director refuses to look around at the locality and what's going on with the nursing world. We need to increase our pay scales so we get good certified nurses working to treat our vets, because at the end of the day it's all about our veterans here, and a lot of people stay here underpaid in hostile work environments because they do love taking care of the vets. It's very different from working on the outside. You become a family in this building and you get very close with the veterans, and so at the end of the day it's all about them. And the increased hostility and the lack of management to deal with the hostility in the workplace. For our nursing staff and all of our staff to receive fair pay, not only from here but from DC, and safe working conditions. Stop the hostility. We have a lot of safety issues too, so we come here and treat our veterans with a lot of love and care, and we deserve to be treated fair and free from discrimination and hostility, and receive a great paycheck. Not great, honest paycheck, sorry. In our nursing wards, we have nurses that are working 12 and 16-hour shifts. We have hospitalists that are also working the same amount of hours. So at the end of the day, they're not receiving, while they receive great care from our nursing staff and all other entities of the hospital, they could receive better care if they were staffed fully. We have tired nurses. They're working 16 hours, coming back only after an 8-hour rest. We have a lot of units that are at half staff on the odd tours, and their only solution to this is mandation of staff. We don't fall under the state rules for nursing when it comes to overtime and mandations, and the federal rules really do not protect our nurses from being mandated various times through the week. Less wait times for appointments, less wait times when they are here, especially when they're coming to the emergency department and the clinics. I think our staff really gives them great care. It's not about that, it's just our staff are very tired, and great care just means, better morale, less injuries, and maybe I can't say anything bad about our staff. They get great compliments from our veterans here. Some veterans travel from out of the area just to come to this facility because of the treatment that they get here. Just be very more enhanced, and I think they would enjoy being, instead of waiting 2 hours in the areas or waiting greater than 30 days for an appointment. I'll give you a generalized story. One, like I said, our locality pay for our nurses that's how they really do get their increases, and that is based on nursing pay surveys and the director's review of those surveys. And this director has been one of the most, he probably has not given them the most, any type of real increase since he came into the position, which was about 2016 or 17. I don't have the exact date. For many years, he didn't give them, like this year, 0% locality increase. So that is the biggest thing. But we do what we call administrative investigations, and in those investigations, one, we're not allowed to review them, and two, it's always no management is at fault. They usually turn it around so the employees are the ones that, you know, have to make the changes, not the management staff themselves. He never holds them accountable. Oh, that's the biggest thing, is our vacancies. We have, on an average, since before COVID, 275 to 300 vacancies in this building alone. And that starts in DC with withholding funds for budgets, and it trickles down and affects us. DC and Secretary McDonough really need to release the funds that are available for them so we could treat the veterans with the utmost care and love that we can and fill these positions. And one of the ways to do that is to give the nurses what they deserve in pay, and we would be better off here. And in the long term, our veterans are the ones that will have great care.
I'm Don Druitt. I'm the AFGE District 3 legislative and political organizer for the entire district, so I cover Pennsylvania and Delaware. A misconception is that all unions can strike. Striking is a familiar phrase for a lot of folks, and that's normally based on how the union's set up. But in the federal sector, we don't have the right to strike. Striking is a problem, and under the Civil Service Reform Act of '74, unions were afforded the ability to operate on a plane with the agency, but they had things like binding third-party arbitration, where if you did have a grievance or an issue with the agency, you'd file that and then go in front of a third-party arbitrator, almost like an administrative law judge, and let the judge determine what was right or wrong about that. And so the ability to strike isn't allowed. I think if you go back to the 80s, the air traffic controllers had walked off the job and Ronald Reagan had fired them all. That's basically the magnitude of what striking means at the federal sector level. So what we're doing here is, this is considered an informational picket or a rally. And what we're doing is we're talking about the breakdown of the relationship between the agency and the union. And that's why we're here, to publicize it, to make folks aware of it, and just bring the transparency to the situation because it's warranted. So this is one of our tools or avenues to do so. I think culturally the problem is that the agencies are always in a cavalier way under the belief that they can do what they want, when they want, and how they want. And I think the idea is to start the conversation, and then through the processes, like I mentioned, it's to then reaffirm our position through those types of means, whether it be a grievance or bringing public attention. I think specifically we're here at the Veterans Affairs Medical Center in Wilkes-Barre. We have a lot of folks that are concerned about staffing and pay and just a general overall relationship with the agency that's not there. And so bringing it to the public's attention that we're vet-centric and that's our most valuable mission, we should be afforded all the resources to do so. So this is a part of a public consensus to move the agency, but also the agency has an obligation to the vets and the public as well. And so this should help with the outcome of creating a conversation starting point. And I think that that's what we're looking to get out of this, to move our issues or concerns forward. If we're understaffed, and that affects the vets and their resources and their access, then people should know about that. And that is something that the agency isn't putting out there, so we are. I think a third of the employees that work at Veterans Affairs are vets. I think that we all know this, that brothers and sisters don't forget each other, they don't leave each other behind. And the idea that we have a third of the employees that are here that are honoring that obligation to their brothers and sisters is very special, but just shows the gravity of the work that gets done and needs to get done and should be done.